You have found yourself on today's Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, me and Pat the Designer, we're going to be going over the Bulls' loss against the Milwaukee Bucks, how they still clinched the playoff spot despite their loss, and an unfortunate update to Lonzo Ball. We'll get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another episode of Locked On Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Pat, the Bulls got demolished by the Milwaukee Bucks at home.
Yes, they did.
It stinks.
It sucks. It sucks. But
Yeah.
we can point to the reason why. We like. I'm sorry if you left this game thinking like the Bulls are trash on defense. The Bulls aren't rotating well. The Bulls aren't getting the ball to Vooch. You aren't watching the right game, dog. Like, they are legitimately a basketball team that cannot knock down wide open shots. And there's no fix for that if you're not going to knock down shots. I understand it's about people getting hot. I understand it's about people getting hot at the right moment. A playoff series could absolutely come. Kobe White could all of a sudden heat back up. But you lost this game tonight, not because Billy Donovan got out coached, which I know is coming in the comments, not because Vooch sucks, which I know is coming in the comments. Well, that contributed to it tonight. I give it to you tonight. He played awfully tonight. Awful. Got off. Because he also was attributing to the wide open shots, not because Kobe White is bad at basketball. The team as a whole shot terribly for just about all of that game, and literally DeMar DeRozan scoring 40 is the reason that your stats look better than they actually are. DeMar DeRozan being efficient and scoring 40 is the only reason you sit at 43% and 27% from the three-point line. You shot 9 for 33 from the three-point line and expect to win the game. Like, dog, other than P. Will, Vooch 3 for 19, Dosunmu 4 for 9, Caruso 0 for 6. That you're not going to win games like that. You're just not. If you're not going to knock down shots, you're going to be in trouble. The playoffs could get ugly, but you are in the playoffs, so that's something to be said. But I mean, I looked at this game tonight and I knew we were at the half, and this is the reason why. For me, at least, it never felt like the Bulls were 100% out of it. I said if the Bulls have a quarter where they actually shoot the ball well, they could win this game. They really didn't have that.
Yeah, they didn't, and they lost every quarter of this basketball game. I think the only time they had a lead was when it was 8-6, and then other than that, they were losing throughout this whole game. The Bulls, this very much felt like a game that, you know, if the Bulls play better, if the Bulls were fully healthy, if all these ifs, that the Bulls very well could have played with this team a lot better than what they did. Now, those things did not happen, but, you know, the defensive effort was lacking at times. Was it as egregious as what we've seen at certain points of the season? No. Have we seen worse defense played? Absolutely. Could the Bulls have shot better? Yes. But, you know, this was a game that when you're looking at, like, it stinks. And the Bulls were probably always going to lose this game. I'm not trying to take anything or say we should take any moral victories from this or not, because at the end of the day, guess what? The Bulls lost. Yeah. And that's what sucks. They did not play well enough to win the game. But like we said before, did you expect the Bulls to play well enough to come? Like, I didn't have expectations of that coming into this. It was very unlikely that the Bulls were going to win this game against a team that very well could still be the number one team in the East when it's all said. Yeah. Statistically, it's probably not going to happen. But with that being said, you know,
I mean, listen, with as close as everything is, they're still my favorite to win the NBA championship right now. With how Brooklyn's been playing, like, they've got championship pedigree. They've won. That means a lot going into the playoffs. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, the worst thing that can happen to the Bulls is if we meet them in the first round.
The Bucks?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's
I
right
don't
now
want
who we're slated to face in the first rounds.
I,
But
I
we
don't want to
know
see
that changes
nobody with
everything.
championship pedigree. I don't want to see nobody that's won one.
I feel it. I feel it. The Bulls 9 for 33 in this game.
Off.
27%. Now, granted, the Bucks didn't shoot too much better either. They were 12 for 35. So the 3-point shooting margin wasn't as egregious. The Bulls again didn't get super badly out rebounded either. It was 42 to 47 with the rebounding battle. Bulls with 22 assists to the Bucks 32 assists. Now that's huge, hugely different. Even the turnover battle was tied. The Bulls did some things you could try to look at if you want to take some things away. But at the end of the day, this Bulls team did not have enough talent, especially minus Zach LaVine, missing Lonzo Ball. I just completely merged the player.
That was interesting.
They did not have enough to win this game. Now, one of the things that I do want to talk about in this game, DeMar did have a 40 piece, but one thing that we've seen is Patrick Williams with more minutes has consistently played better. For the people who thought Patrick Williams is not going to be a 4, he can't play 4 in this league. 4 offensive rebounds. He had 6 rebounds and 18 points. He had only 1 turnover, only 2 personal fouls. Patrick Williams is good at basketball. And the fact that we're seeing Patrick Williams take leaps, it really makes me, sad that we didn't get to see a full season of this, because I really do think had Patrick Williams not went down with that injury and he got a chance to develop on this team when they were going through everything that they were going through, boy, would Patrick Williams be like Patrick Williams is really, really developing before our eyes, confidently taking shots again. One thing, 7 for 9 in this game, shooting the ball very efficiently. I think some people want to see Patrick Williams take more shots just for the sake of taking shots. But one thing that I appreciate more than just taking shots to take them is that he's taking the right shots and he's hitting those shots. What do you think about that, Pat?
Patrick Williams turned Giannis into Patrick Williams tonight. Patrick Williams had 18 and 6. He didn't have a defensive stat, but you saw how he played Giannis. You saw that Giannis was getting rid of the ball. You saw that Giannis he would get it. P. Will would jump in front of him. He would drive. P. Will would throw the body at him. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it didn't. But there were times where there was a lot of Giannis picking the ball up, trying to move it or pull up a jump shot. Now, listen, if Giannis gets a jump shot, he's the best player in the league, hands down. Everybody just quit basketball like it's over. But tonight, Giannis played 24 minutes. Now, granted, because he got into foul trouble, but he played 24 minutes. He had 18 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and he had 5 fouls. Now, he probably plays more if the Bulls aren't getting blown out, getting their heads kicked in, but I think that P. Will did a really good job versus Giannis Antetokounmpo tonight and did a really good job at making Giannis work for everything he had to do. And you saw it. Listen, when he was on him, the biggest play for me from P. Will tonight was seeing Giannis drive to the bucket, go right, have the lane, P. Will close out, and be able to jump and have the strength to body up with Giannis enough that Giannis had to adjust his whole shot. There's not a lot of dudes in the NBA that can make Giannis adjust his shot. You know what Giannis adjusting his shot is? I'm not going to dunk on you here. I'm going to dunk on you here. Like that says a lot. Now, listen, it hasn't been a huge sample size versus Giannis. He's only played Giannis 3 times in his career. 2 of the times Giannis has scored 25 plus against him. One of those times he had like 75% from the field in that game. Ridiculous. But it says a lot about P. Will that in his 3rd time playing Giannis, he stepped up to the challenge. And not only stepped up to the challenge, I came in here telling y'all, don't expect offense from P. Will. He gave you offense. Now, I think his last 4 points come at the end of that game when they pretty much had pulled everybody off of the floor. But you got 14 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Johnny. You got 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 offensive rebounds on a night where he was on Giannis all night. That says something about this young man. And realistically, he's not taking shots. And, of course, he finishes with 18. But like I said, those last 4 came in like, I don't even know who Buddy was. Was that Javon Carter out there? Or, I don't even know. Man, there was one dude. I knew it was over when dude came in and pulled a 3. And I was like, who the heck is that?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, man, it was a tough night. It comes with at least a positive. The Bulls are going to officially be a playoff team, which we're going to talk about. But before we talk about that, let's go ahead and get into our first sponsor for today. And this one is a new one. This is Shady Rays. And Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that gives you the features of $200 sunglasses for a fraction of the price. That means polarized lenses, well-constructed durable frames, and premium high-end finishes. Also, something you won't find anywhere else is Shady Rays' Insane Protection Program. Shady Rays includes lost and broken protection on every pair. They will send you a brand new pair if you lose them, no matter what happened. Give them a try, and if you don't love them, you'll pay nothing. It's as simple as that. Plus, 10 meals are donated to fight hunger in America when you shop with Shady Rays. Exclusively for our listeners, head to shadyrays.com and use the code LOCKEDON to get 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. That's code LOCKEDON for their best deal of the season. 50% off 2 or more pairs of Shady Rays sunglasses backed by over 150,000 verified 5-star reviews. Get those shades, people. Get them. Pat co-signs.
Hey, they dope, bro. I'm not even gonna stunt with you. Shout out to Shady Rays, man. Because I'm
Absolutely.
terrible with shades, bro. I'm terrible with sunglasses. I will absolutely have some sunglasses on doing full-on construction in the backyard.
That is wild. But let's get into this, man. The Bulls do clinch a playoff victory with the Cleveland Cavaliers losing. Now, I know a lot of Bulls fans are going to sit there and say, well, what does it mean? They're a first-round exit anyway. Pat, I want to not only talk about the Bulls clinching their first playoff appearance since 2017, but I think also we may need to remind people and listeners of this show, viewers on YouTube, how important playoff experience is to jumpstarting the development of players, even if it does come at the side of a loss. Go ahead, Pat.
It's huge. The experience you get the further you go in the playoffs is massive. I mean, legitimately, right now, I don't want to see the Bucks. And the Bulls have actually, minus like the last 2 games, have actually played the Bucks really tough. Guess what? They got championship experience. I don't want to see that. It changes the dynamic of it, and no matter who the player is, no matter what the situation is, when you talk to players, they tell you it feels different. And when you talk about playoffs in the UC, we're talking about at a minimum, because you are a top 6 team. You cannot fall outside of the top 6 at this point. You're talking about 2 games in the United Center. You think there's pressure on you now? There's going to be immense pressure on Kobe White to make shots. There's going to be immense pressure on Patrick Williams to be more aggressive. There's going to be immense pressure on Nikola Vucevic to be better. And here's the thing. Based on who you match up against right now, it's against the Bucks. That could be a 4-game matchup. Could be a 5-game matchup. I'll say we get 1 maybe. I don't know. But it could be against Philly. It still could be against Boston. Mm-hmm. You might find a way where you are able to win some games, make this a competitive series, maybe sneak out of the first round, get into the second round at this point. That's huge, because now you're building that repertoire with guys that aren't supposed to have that yet. We're talking about Ayo Dosunmu probably being the starting point guard on a playoff basketball team coming into the season. We weren't talking about our second round pick being that good, being that level of player coming into the playoffs here. He's going to get to experience that offhand. What does that do for him next season? Kobe White's going to get to experience the pressure. Heck, maybe the pressure of the playoffs turns Kobe White into, man, that pressure was huge. This ain't nothing. Now all of a sudden he's a spark. Like, you never know how people adjust, and people make their names in the playoffs. Who was Kawhi Leonard before he played defense on LeBron in the finals like that, or before he started showing what his defensive prowess was on that stage? This is a huge moment for guys like Patrick Williams. Huge moment for guys like Zach LaVine. How do you make your name in this thing? You get into the playoffs and you show what you can do. DeMar DeRozan, hey, listen, you've got a stigma in the playoffs already. You have to eventually get the job done. There's no LeBron in the Eastern Conference now. Now there is Giannis. That's a problem. But there's no LeBron in the Eastern Conference now. Like you have to find a way to get the job done. There is something to be said about gaining that experience, getting to that next level, and then coming into the next season a completely. How many teams have we seen, dog, that just their whole team seems to change just by playing in the playoffs? Like all of a sudden, it's like, oh snap, this team is different. Like even with Cleveland losing and struggling to finish out the season, which we know why, because no Jared Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Them being in the playoffs is massive. The Toronto Raptors going into the NBA Finals and winning it with Kawhi. Why are they here right now? Because Fred VanVleet's been there before. Because OG Anunoby's been there before. Because, you know what I'm saying? So, like, just having that experience, it does so much for your team, man. And this is a development season. We're not going to the finals this year. If we end up in the finals, my God, Chicago might burn. Like, I don't know if Chicago can handle the finals this year. So, like, we're not going to the finals this year. It's about growth and development. The biggest thing you can do for growth and development is be in the playoffs.
I mean, and that's what it all boils down to. This season was never meant to be a championship season, as I've been saying for a long time. But even taking that outside, whatever it was meant to be, what it wasn't meant to be, it doesn't matter. At this point in time, this team is who this team is. But getting that playoff experience, letting Zach LaVine taste the playoffs, letting Ayo Dosunmu, as you said, a rookie who's already excelled well past what a lot of people expected from him coming into the season, letting a player like that's already hungry taste the playoffs in their first season is going to be huge. Patrick Williams coming back, being healthy, possibly being our starter again full time by the playoffs, getting if it's against Giannis, if it ends up being against Boston, whoever we end up facing in that first round, having Patrick Williams learning and seeing what it takes to play defense consistently on a playoff level and what his energy and everything brings, all that, getting the players that taste of this.
Yes.
Yeah, it's literally, you want them to taste it, and you want them, let me not say you want them to fail, but in that failure, they're going to realize, hey, I want to get there again. Matter of fact, I want to get even further than that. I want to feel this failure again next year. I want to get past that. It's all going to be huge. That's one thing I do. It does suck about Lonzo not being able to get that taste, but we'll talk about that when we get into that segment. But also, I think that another thing that the playoffs allow is to us to see just how far we truly are behind the other teams. Like, yeah, it sucks in the regular season. The playoffs are different, right? We're going to be able to tell so much more because when a team, literally all they have to do is focus on stopping the things that you do, we're really going to be able to tell, hey, for those that think it's not Billy Donovan, for those who think, hey, it's Billy Donovan's lack of adjustments, it's all going to be laid out there. The playoffs are usually the great divider between how far you really are from getting to that ultimate goal. And I want my team to be in that playoffs, to really see where they are, to get that taste, and for the players to feel it. Vooch, you got to play better. You got to play better. Yeah. We didn't touch on Vooch much in when we were talking about the game. But again, Vooch, who has some playoff experience, but he's never played for anything meaningful in the playoffs. Again, all this, it helps. It doesn't hurt at all. So anyone that's saying like, oh, it doesn't matter, they're going to be eliminated, I think, it's a lot of people talking about sports who've never played sports, and that's usually a problem, right? That's usually a problem. But
that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, that is a whole different conversation. But I'm really glad that our players are going to get to be able to have a full series, even in that it's not going to be in a play-in tournament atmosphere, because I want them to get that feel of what NBA playoff basketball actually is.
And here's the thing with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to. I love that we're going into the playoffs. Now, would I rather have us winning? Yeah, I would. Would I rather have us playing at a higher level? Yes, 110%. Would I rather have us beating the Milwaukee Bucks? 110%. But we're not. We're going into the playoffs understanding who we are. If Atlanta had that luxury last season, they might not have paid John Collins what they paid him. If the Knicks had that luxury, they might not extend Julius Randle. Right? Like, the false hope is what you want to avoid.
Yeah.
I know what's wrong with the Bulls. We can't shoot. Guess what that means? I need to go get somebody that can shoot. Guess what it also means? I also have a general manager and a president of basketball ops that I know is going to look around and be like, hey, we can't shoot. We got to go find somebody that can shoot. Like, that's like, it's crazy to say like that. That's the starting point for us. But y'all realize like Garpax would be like, hey, we need a point guard. Let's draft a center. What the? We need a point guard. Hey man, let's go get a wing. What the? We need a point guard. Otto Porter Jr. What are you doing?
We need to get younger and more athletic.
Younger and more athletic. 38-year-old Dwayne Wade. What? Like, we have guys that actually are going to sit in there and be like, hey, we need shooters. Let's go get shooters.
Yeah.
We're like, I'm glad that we're seeing this because it shows us, like you said, where we really are. And here's the thing. We don't come into it with a false hope. Kobe White, if he goes in and has a great playoff series. Okay, Kobe White had a great playoff series. How do you build on that? Right? How do you get to that next level? How do you, like, what does that turn into? And is it even worth it to keep him around if it does turn into something? Like that, those are the questions that you can answer by being in the playoffs and coming down the season the way they have. So I think the Bulls are going to be in a better position because of it, man. I really do. But before we get into this last segment, breaking down I'd say pretty devastating news for most Bulls fans that about Lonzo Ball, we want to tell y'all about Built Bar, man. Built Bar, man, listen, I've been up running every day this week. If y'all follow me on Instagram, y'all know it sucks. Anyway, but what gets me through it is the help that I get from Built Bar. It's getting me back on track with the diet plan, everything like that. I mean, and the puffs are hitting every single day. If you haven't tried them, you're missing out. The puffs are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar, they're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. And that's the thing, you get to eat marshmallows for breakfast. Like, y'all understand, that's crazy, right? Anyway, this is the thing about Built Bar, man. All Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Yes, the puffs included. 100% real chocolate. And they are a low-calorie, high-protein replacement for your candy bars. They're better, and a typical candy bar can range anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. You're talking about 240 calories, probably 30 grams of sugar, dozen net carbs. Most Built Bars only contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. At Built Bar, man, I'm telling you, they worry about the taste. They make it taste good first, and then they figure out how to make it healthy. I don't know how they keep doing it, bro, but they pull it off every time. So make sure that y'all go to built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 to get your 15% off your order. Use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your order at built.com.
There you have it. Now, one thing that needs to seemingly be built, right? They need to rebuild him is Lonzo Ball's.
That was a transition right there, my boy.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a transition. Well, I give you credit for that.
Thank you. So they ramped up Lonzo Ball. Clap it up. They ramped up Lonzo Ball's transition back, and again, he felt more discomfort. To quote Billy Donovan directly, it was that there's going to be a meeting of the minds. They're going to decide how to proceed. By everything that it looks like, Lonzo Ball season is all but over, playoffs included. I expect that to probably come down sometime tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Pat, what do you think this means? You know, a lot of players now we have PTSD when it comes to knee injuries here in Chicago. What are you worried about the long-term outlook of Lonzo Ball's career? Are you disappointed? Well, of course you're disappointed that he's not going to return this season. Yeah. How concerned are you about the outlook of Lonzo Ball's knee and the fact that he's just not healing fast?
Next season will tell me a lot, right? Mm-hmm. This season, it's a wash at this point. But this is a risk you took by signing Lonzo. I love Lonzo. I think Lonzo is going to be a really good player. I think that he could be a really good player if he stays healthy, and he was having some career highs shooting-wise with the Bulls. But unfortunately, this is kind of the norm.
Yeah,
Lonzo's never come close to an 82-game season.
He's played, 61 games? Or is it 51?
63 is his most with the Pelicans.
Okay. Right.
He's never come close to an 82-game season. So this is a risk that you took by getting Lonzo Ball. Whether you like it or not, the blow hurts a little bit less because you have Ayo Dosunmu and you hope that he continues to develop. But right now, the fact that he played 35 games this season, there's a level of concern. There's a level of, okay, is this guy going to be an injury-prone guy? He's seemingly been an injury-prone guy, a guy that can play for part of the season, but maybe not the full part of the season. But it's also, hey, he's a 24-year-old 6'6" point guard with a heck of a wingspan and a defensive mind and great basketball IQ. I'm willing to take a chance on that. I'm willing to take a chance on, hey, maybe he's a little bit injury prone right now for the output that he could give us. And that's why he's here. That's why I think that it's a good thing that the Bulls signed him. They addressed a huge need. Now, again, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many great abilities he has. The best ability is availability. And he can't give you that availability right now. But if I come in the next season and we see something similar, then I've got concerns. Off of this year, listen, there's been a ton of injuries for the Bulls. I'm not going to kill Lonzo for being another casualty of war, unfortunately, that the Bulls have had to go through. Caruso's still not healthy. Y'all have to understand, like, the guys that they ramped up, like P. Will might be 100% healthy. That's it. He might be. But Caruso's not healthy. Zach's not healthy. They're just playing through it. They're just fighting through it. They're just trying to, hey, like, our team needs us. I want to be out there with them. There's a lot of guys that are still dealing with major, like, issues that they're going to go into the offseason and be like, hey, I'm going to need some surgery real quick.
Yeah.
Like, Zach's probably going to have surgery the second the Bulls are, if they do finish in the first round or second round. You're probably going to hear, like, the day after, Zach LaVine will be slated to have surgery. It'll be a
Out
2
6
to
to 8
3
weeks.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're probably gonna hear that immediately after the season is. So, I mean, there's a level of concern with it, but I mean, listen, we're in year 1 of this thing, and he's 24 years old. If it's something that's taken care of this season, and he can come back and he can give you multiple seasons of playing higher tier games, then it was something that happened at the beginning. Let's see what happens next year. What do you think about it?
My biggest concern is this, and it's concern to a degree, right? But what if our starting backcourt, which I do still think Lonzo Ball is the perfect backcourt mate for Zach LaVine for so many reasons.
Yep.
That what if the last 30 games of every season that we have them, they have to alternate on missing back-to-backs. They have to alternate on who's going to get a couple of days rest here and there. Now we do have Ayo Dosunmu, so that bodes a long way for that. And so that's the way that I'm trying to look at this. If that what ends up happening is we have to do knee management for our backcourt to just get them completely ready for the playoffs every year, is that a negative? I mean, yes, it's a negative because they're not available. Like you said, the best ability is availability, and I love that you have that saying. But the thing that gives me some hope in this is that Lonzo's already had the surgery, and we saw what he was doing at the beginning of this year, right? He already had it. He's had the surgery before. And the thing that, for Bulls fans who are shocked or surprised that he's out for the rest of the season, keep in mind, he had the same type of injury earlier in the season and missed the remainder of that season. So the fact that this one happened fairly late in the season, the writing was always on the wall. But I think that what Lonzo gives you when he's available, and the fact that, hopefully it's not going to be another torn MCL, and that's rare. Hopefully it's not that again. That it's still going to be more than worth it. It's not just about, I know for Bulls fans, everybody thought or got their feelings so wrapped up in that it's just going to be the season. It's not. And because it's not just this season, listen, he had this early enough to where this should not be an issue at all come training camp for next season. Let's hope that he has more relative health. Let's hope we catch the good karma on the other side of this and we get relative health next year, because a healthy Bulls team is going to be a dangerous Bulls team, especially knowing AK and Eversley, like you said, are going to go out and fix the holes that we have on this team. But there is some of that. There is some of the, hey, how much of this are we going to have to manage every year that Lonzo Ball and Zach LaVine are our starting backcourt?
Yeah.
And even if it takes a little bit, if you're doing management and not being like this whole thing of, well, we don't know when they're going to come back. If it's management, it's like, no, Lonzo's going to get a couple of days rest. Ayo's going to get the starts that day. We'll see Lonzo in 3 days. He'll be back on the team. I'll take that. I will take that every day if it means that we're going to have the best version of them available when it matters. And I have right now faith that it's going to be there. It is concerned how it happened. The fact it was non-count, all that is concerning. The bone bruise is concerning, but it's not anything that at least seems like it's going to be structural or lingering into the next season. Yes, they may have some knee management that happens when you get, as somebody who's had knee surgery, it happens. But I still have faith. They're young enough. Lonzo's young enough that I think this is
24.
This is going to, it's going to be fine. It's going to,
and he's not the difference with a lot of the knee injuries that we talk about in Lonzo's is like Lonzo's not the high flyer.
Yeah.
Lonzo's a shooter and a facilitator and a defender. Like, I'm more worried about his knee on, is he going to be mentally ready to come back and play defense at that level than I am, is he going to be able to dunk on people? Like, when the heck have I wanted to see Lonzo Ball dunk on somebody? Like, sure, let's do it. But, like, I don't expect that on a consistent basis. So, like, I think that there's a difference when you're talking about the people that, like with Derrick Rose,
His game was built around athleticism.
It was built around athleticism, his whole game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't have the great shooting game and stuff like that he's kind of developed. It was all built on, can he jump? I don't have that fear with Lonzo Ball. So I think that the Bulls are going to be okay. I think that Lonzo's going to end up being a good signer. I mean, what did we get him for? 80 for 4 or something like that? 82 for 4, something like that?
Yeah.
And it hurts a lot less because you found Ayo Dosunmu. And the fact that, I'll tell you this right now, whether it's Lonzo Ball, whether it's Ayo Dosunmu, whether it's Kobe White, whether it's Patrick Williams, whatever it is, the fact that the Bulls are able to find pieces with the regime that they have in place is an AK I trust, an Acme I trust. And you know what? I'm okay with what the decisions that they've made this year, because in 2 years, we're in the freaking playoffs. We won 31 games. We won 22 games the last year with Jim Boylan. We're in the playoffs. That was 2 years ago. How long do it feel like since Jim Boylan?
Oh, bro, it feels like honestly, it feels like it's been like 4 or 5 years.
It's been 2 years. He was here right before COVID.
That's crazy. That's wild, man. We've come so far from that, and it feels good. Imagine if Jim and the Bulls, they wanted AK and Eversley to be considered keeping Boylan on.
Oh my
Are
God,
we glad that did not happen?
Bro. Hey,
Are we glad?
I heard that was the greatest conversation ever. Like, they talked with him for 2 minutes, and AK was like, "Yeah, no."
Like, and he has that personality. It's literally you being like, all right, let's. I'm sure he said something crazy like, and then for my master plan, I'm gonna have Zach LaVine come off the bench, and AK and Evers was like, you know what, meeting's over. Let's go.
Hey, you know that man came in like the penguin, like just you know that man came in there just like, and I plan on taking over all the bank system. What the f are you talking about? What are you talking about? Right
Oh man. Jim
I
Boylan,
really feel like we could get in here and win one for the Gipper. Did he say the Gipper? The heck is a Gipper? What does that mean? Hey man, don't you got something to do on NBA TV badly?
Oh, I'm so glad that man is not in charge of my team anymore. But Pat, that's it for our time there. Unless you got something left, man, go ahead. Let's give him your social media. Let's get up out of here.
Hey man, hit that. Good Lord, I done went to my channel. Follow me on everything at Pat the Designer Man, PATTHEDESIGNER. So I did go to public school, but they taught me how to spell. And follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. JV with a dub.
My bad. Yeah, definitely with a dub. One thing that I'm going to announce on here, and I haven't even talked to Pat about it. We are a little bit away from hitting 5,000 subscribers on Locked On Bulls. We need to get to that 5,000 subscriber mark. So here's what we're going to do. When we get to 5,000 subscribers, me and Pat, we're going to do a giveaway. We'll figure out what the terms of that going to be, but I'm going to give you guys a piece of Bulls merch. Any piece of Bulls merch, $40 or less, is going to be yours once we do the giveaway. But first, we got to hit 5,000 subscribers.
I love that. $40 or less. Come on now. We're working our way.
Because you say any piece of Bulls merch, and then somebody would be like, I want this Michael Jordan Hardwood Classics jersey. What?
That's $223. They priced that aptly.
But yeah, so we're gonna give that away once we hit 5,000 subscribers. So be on the lookout for that. Hit that subscribe button. If you're watching this video and not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I know sometimes with YouTube we pop up in algorithms, people think that they're subscribed and they're not actually subscribed. So hit that subscribe button. But other than that, that is it for us for today. You can follow me at CEO Haize. You can follow us collectively at Locked On Bulls. That's where we do our thing at. Other than that, that's it. JV with a dub, and we out.
Playoffs, baby.
Woo! Playoffs, definitely. We out this month.